cactus and succulent growers, I'm Lynn, and welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon in the north of Ireland. And in today's video I'm going to be doing a little bit of a examination and seeing why I have one of my Echinopsis cacti that is looking a little bit embarrassed. And this here is one of my Echinopsis oxygonas, and it was a pup that I took from the mother plant, which is this big monster of a beauty here. Monster and beauty at the same time, and it's over 70 years old. It's a big, massive, multi-pupped cluster of awesomeness, and it is one of the pups that I took off this, and it was doing okay, but I noticed over a few months ago it was going a bit red, and I was thinking I must check that out, because when cacti go red and they're not supposed to, there's usually something wrong with either the body or their roots. And because I was unbelievably busy over the summer with lots of work, I just didn't get chance, and I watered it and it sort of fattened up, and I thought, well, I'll check it when I got more time. And I think it's time I actually got this out the pot to see what is going on with it. Now, I've took a lot of pups from the big mother plant here, and they've always done really well. I'll just show an example here. The pup I took off at the same time, this is one here as well of the oxygonas there, and that's doing really well, very green, very healthy, no problem with that one. So what is wrong with this one then? And I have made a video on, you know, why is my cactus going red, and it's a video for everybody to tell you why. If you notice your cactus is going red and it's not meant to be red, it's not meant to be like this Gymnoclecium variegata, for example, that's meant to be red coloured, or it's one of the gymno red caps, or any of the others that are meant to be red, and it's going red and it's not supposed to. There's a problem with it. So, and I include in that video the things you have to do. So I'm going to be doing the same thing with this one. So then I'm going to be taking it out the pot, checking it over, and see what's wrong with it, because I'm guessing there's something seriously wrong with the roots. It's either got root mealybug or the roots have died back, because it's very stressed. It's not a case that it's had too much sun, because all my other cacti are not blushing unless they're meant to blush, like this Pharaoh cactus here. And as I say, the big main mother plant is very, very, very green. So I'm going to take it out and share the little going over, checking over what is wrong with this plant with you all. And I just want to mention, if you have a cactus that is going red and you want to see that video I did on why is your cactus going red, I mentioned all of the many reasons in that video. It is quite common thing to happen, as I always used to get asked about it. Then do check out that video after you've watched this one. I'll link that video up above. So let's go outside, guys, and take this apart. Right, first of all, I'm going to be doing is squeezing it out, taking it from the pot, and I really don't know what I'm going to be dealing with here. Now that's the roots. So then, roots look pretty much okay, a bit of white there, don't know whether that's just, I always put a bit of diatomaceous earth in the soil. Look what I can see. I don't know if that's mealies or sometimes it's just leftover. Sometimes I have these very tiny little white snails. They're incredibly tiny, and I used to think they were mealybugs, but when I got my magnifying glass out, there were tiny little shells of snails. Don't seem to be a problem. I don't think that's possibly what that is there. I'm going to treat it anyway. So I'm going to take the soil off. The soil looks pretty bad anyway. Now I always use my own soil mix, sand and a bit of, as you can see, pumice and everything in here, but I don't know why this is going like that, but I'm going to remove it all anyway, because there's obviously something going on with its base. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be, it's a hard cactus, there's no signs of soft rot, but there's something going on at the base here, as you can see. No root mealybugs, and root mealybugs you will see because they give off a very white, almost a very pale sort of bluey tinge, and you'll see them in the soil, completely different to normal sort of mealybugs that are purely white. But there's something going on with this one here, and you always have to inspect cacti that are not meant to go. Yeah, you can see there's a little snail shell there, but well, the weirdest thing is I can't actually see anything wrong. And it's got the roots. I think what's happened in this case, the roots have just died back. Because here are the roots here. If I go like that, they're just crumbling. It's just, the roots have died back. And I think this plant, it's been in the polytunnel in a very sunny position. And because it hasn't had chance to repair its root system, it's died back. So I'm just going to end up removing all of this. It looks like I may have to get this to re-root itself again. I could either just, I say I've got plenty of pups of this, but for the sake of this video, to show you what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to get a clean knife, cut it there, let it callus, and then replant it again, because the roots have died back. And while the roots have all been dead on this, the plant has not had, obviously, chance to take up any water. So I'm just going to go and get my little knife now. I've got this little knife here, and I've sprayed it with rubbing alcohol because it's important that you use a very clean, sterilised knife. And I just pulled a little bit of the dried root, and it looks fresh, so I don't need to cut right up here. I'm literally just going to cut right across. Difficult to do this with one hand when you're filming, guys. So, aha, straight across. So here we go. What have we got? Yep, looks pretty good, but I'm going to cut it a little bit more as well. And there's no rot, so I don't really need to clean the knife. That's just a bit of the soil going on there, so there's no rot, so that's pretty good. But I'm going to just spray, I'm going to spray the knife anyway, just to be sure, with the rubbing alcohol, because it's always good to have clean tools and a clean cloth just to clean it with. And then I'm going to then cut a little bit further up, straight across. Let's have a look. Yep, that's very good. So then all I'm going to be doing now is sprinkling this with a bit of cinnamon powder, and you can either use sulphur powder or cinnamon powder. And this isn't a necessity. If you live in a dry climate, it would probably dry in a few days, just left in a sheltered spot away from direct sun. But because where I live in Ireland, it's very high humidity, if I wasn't to cover this with a bit of cinnamon powder, there's a chance that fungus could set in the cut wound and then spread into the plant. So bear that in mind when you're taking cactus cuttings and you happen to live in a fairly high humidity environment such as I do. So I'm just going to get some powder to sprinkle on that now. So I've just dusted that cut end with just a little bit of cinnamon powder, pure cinnamon powder you get from the health shop, and that gives it a bit of protection there from any chances of fungus getting in. And then what you want to do with anything you have to cut to re-root itself, I'm going to be putting this in a shady spot under the polytunnel, I should say, under the table, away from direct sun, but where it's going to get plenty of ventilation to dry. Once it's fully dried and formed a white callus at the bottom, I'm going to pot it up then in a gritty cactus soil and probably keep it dry in a shady spot until the following spring, which will probably be March, April time now. We're going to introduce a bit of water. I may decide, probably bring it into the grow room in fact, and start it up under the grow lights with a bit of a light misting with water just around the base to encourage it to root. But if I was to just leave this over the winter and then start it up to a bit of watering in the spring, it should re-root itself. Cacti will even re-root themselves when you don't water them. If you just pot them up in a gritty soil and leave them, they'll send out roots. So it's not a necessity. But to hurry this up, it's quite shriveled, as you can see, that I'm going to bring it in for the winter and try and get it going. So there you go. I've managed to save that. As I say, I don't really have to. I've got plenty of pups of this, but I wanted to do it anyway. And should you do this, have this with your cactus, you know what to do. But there's many reasons why a cactus can go red. Too much sun, you know, viruses, insect pests, root pests, in this case with the root loss and it wasn't taken at water. They go red because they're stressed, so it's a stress reaction. And you know, as I say, I've made a video on why a cactus goes red, so do watch that video after this one. As I mentioned, the links will be up above. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. For lots more tips and tricks, then do please subscribe, and don't forget to click that notification bell, and do check out my website for lots of growing tips on there, desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to wish you all a fantastic cactus powered